Still loading. There we go. Hi, everybody.
Hey. So I feel like since we've gotten a few more followers on our Facebook page, we should do like a quick little introduction.
I will let you go first because
yes. So first of all, thank you to everybody who is liking the page, following the page. We're trying to engage more with you guys. And if this is your first time here, you are listening to Horror Talks with Nisi and May. I am May.
And I am Nisi.
We are horror fanatics, okay? We are horror nerds. We are horror enthusiasts. We love to watch horror movies and we love breaking them down and talk about them even more. Now, we have already talked about, like, we've been deep diving into so many great horror movies. At the beginning of this year, we started breaking down all the screams in kind of like a build up to Scream 6 that we also broke down on our channel. We talked about, blockbusters as far as franchises. We've talked about low budget, like Valentine. That was my favorite. That was a really, really, really good one.
That's your favorite episode?
Yes. Well, all of them are really my favorite, but that one sticks out, the Valentine one, because it was specifically right around Valentine's Day. So
yeah,
we tried to keep themes with what was going on the calendar. We've also talked about Candyman. We did the breakdown of first one, the remake, mashed them together, what we thought. We also talked about Tales from the Hood. We do have to circle back on that to do like Tales from the Hood 2 and 3.
At my request, because I love those movies. I don't care.
Absolutely. So that was Tales from the Hood was a fun time. So we have fun here. So if you are also a horror nerd, a horror fanatic, we welcome you. If you are watching this on Facebook, feel free to watch the rewatch on YouTube, on our YouTube page. It's also called Horror Talks. Drop a like, subscribe, share. We really are trying to build a community amongst a sea of so many other content creators. So we appreciate you for lending an ear to us.
Yes, we are really enjoying ourselves. It's something that just kind of...
Wait.
Where is she going? See, this is what happens when you do a podcast with your best friend.
Woo, so that sun was coming through the blinds. I was like, oh Lord, now I lost my sunlight.
For people who don't know, me and May have been best friends since we were like 12 years old. So we literally have been talking about movies since we were children, and now we're just doing it as adults. And something that's turned into like this fun hobby for us being bored at home, and we've got like over 100 followers. I'm still kind of gagged, like, because I remember telling her from the beginning, like, no one's gonna watch this. I just want to do it for fun. So the fact that people are actually like watching and following, like, that's amazing to me. And from the bottom of my little heart, I want to like thank y'all, because I don't really socialize well. So the fact that people actually want to hear what I have to say is like, I'm taken aback. I'm really taken aback by it.
Yep.
But into what we are discussing tonight, my ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Halloween Kills. We have been talking about this trilogy. Now, we started the trilogy like some weeks back, and then like we both got busy, so now we're back on track. So we want to finish out this trilogy and talk about one of the worst movies that I saw last year.
Hey, we ain't even gonna hold y'all that long.
No, you can tell when we really like aren't feeling it, because we'll just like get right to it. So just to recap, like, okay, so how we got an actual like story, not even a story, but like a thread between the first two movies. Like, we have like a thread, but it's been chewed on by the family dog for part 3. Like, it's hanging on literally by a thread.
Yep.
So we are introduced to this character, and I totally need to look up his name. I know his last name is Cunningham, but that's how forgettable it was to me. We're introduced to a new character, and mind you, if you're really here for Michael, you need to go look for his ass, because he really ain't here.
This movie featured, it didn't really even feature Michael Myers that much.
Oh,
It's
I'm
like they
sorry.
wanted
See,
to.
I'd have messed up. This ain't even Halloween Kills. This is Halloween Ends. See,
Halloween ends. Yep.
I'd have messed up. That's how much of this movie I'm just like it's whatever.
Yep.
So this is Halloween Ends because we had Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. My bad, y'all. I'm so being so unprofessional. I'd have messed the hell up. But his name is Corey.
Yes.
That's his
Corey.
name. His name is Corey, and I will say this about him: he's cute.
Yeah.
He's a good looking fella. Like I was, kind of surprised because mostly in like Halloween movies, like nobody's attractive. I mean, let's just keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a attractive young lad. So Corey Cunningham is like 21, right? So, and he is a babysitter. And he's a nerd. We can relate. He's awkward. You know what I mean? He's babysitting for this family. And you can get the sense that like he's a real like trusted individual, right? Like
Yep.
he's just like a nice kid. The parents are familiar with him, so he, because Haddonfield's not that big, so he's babysitting. And this kid's an asshole. Like I'm just gonna be real with you. And I have children, but this kid I couldn't. So the kid that he's babysitting is like really making fun of him like the whole night, and they're talking about the whole like Michael Myers thing that happened, and the kid's kind of like poking fun at him, and he goes off to go to the bathroom or some shit. And then he's not there for a while. So Corey goes to look for him, and he's hearing him screaming at the top of his lungs that, Michael Myers is trying to kill him.
Right.
And he realizes like the kid starts like snickering behind this attic door, and he realizes the kid's playing a prank on him, and this kid won't open the door. Okay, he lures him into the attic and closes the door and locks it. This kid won't open the door. Corey's trying to get out, and he's kicking the door. Now, I will say this is probably my favorite scene of the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is the opening scene because you just didn't expect it to happen. So he's kicking this door, and as he kicks this door, the parents are coming in the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And he kicks it that one last time, and the door goes flying, and the kid falls over the banister and hits the ground and breaks his neck as the parents are walking in, and they see this. So it looks like he murdered this kid.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It looks intentional. I'm not gonna lie to you. And it kind of just spirals from there. Like I was like, okay, when that first scene happened, I was like, okay, cool. Like this is different. I could get on board with something different. This is like crazy. They literally just showed him like kicking this kid over a banister.
Right.
And then you get the opening credits, and the opening credits look just like the opening credits from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch with the orange bars and the blue lettering. And then I was like, okay, cool. They're about to throw it back, maybe tie this in.
Right.
I'm ready. I'm on board with this. So we flash forward, like it was a couple, like 3 years later.
Yep.
So Corey is like now the outcast. He didn't get put in jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was like a whole, he got arrested and everything. They found that it was an accident, but nobody in the town believes it was an accident. Everyone thinks he's a murderer. So they start harassing him. And what I find interesting is Lori's writing this memoir.
Yep.
Her, finally, her granddaughter is like working at like a doctor's office or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's nothing like the granddaughter from the first movie. Like, I don't know when they decided to change her character.
Yeah.
And I get it, like, traumatic experience. It's the same thing Lori went through. You're going to change. You're a developing young adult. But she got like really, really emo.
Yeah.
And I'm all for emo.
Yeah.
You can give me emo. I'm with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was done in like a stereotypical way.
Yeah. It felt kind of forced.
Yeah. Like
a little forced. Because I was like,
yeah, it was a little much for me. But you see Corey's just getting harassed. He's working with his stepdad, at this like mechanics garage or whatever. You get this sense that like he's had a really hard 3 years. Like this Corey's a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
His light has dimmed, so to speak. He's not as bubbly. He's really defensive and on guard. And he's like trying to go to the store, the gas station or whatever. And these band geeks roll up. Now, I don't know where y'all from, but I ain't never met no band geeks that act like 50s greasers.
Man, that was so bad. That was just so bad. Like it did not work. That did not work for me. It was not believable to me. It was just like, come on now. Like
Yeah,
this.
like you, I thought they were gonna pull out a switch comb and say, "Are you ready to rumble?" Like it just didn't make any sense. Like I
They
understand that bullies come in all shapes and sizes, right? I understand that there are bullies in the band. I was in, music. Like there's bullies everywhere, but
yeah.
like they made the lead bully like the rich kid, but it's like, but he's in the band.
Yep.
The two stereotypes don't go together.
Right. And you gotta have the token black. Like it's just
Your
it,
obligatory black girl.
the obviously black girl who's just there. She's a token, So
She had
I
like nothing to contribute to the group, right?
no, no, no personality. These three bullies had no personality.
Well, no, it was
Didn't have,
four. It's just the black girl didn't have nothing to do, but it was four of them. It was a
yeah,
white
yeah,
girl, a black girl, and two white dudes.
right. Yep. So they really like off rip. They weren't likable characters.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, whatever. Like we know as horror as horror enthusiasts like we are, we know they're gonna get it. We just gotta see how they gonna get it. And you're right, they are treating Corey just terrible.
Right. So they end up like cutting him,
Mm-hmm.
and Lori is there too. And she kind of stops him, and they start talking shit to Lori because Lori also is like a pariah now
Yep.
because of Michael's return. So everybody hates her too because other people die because apparently they're blaming her for Michael coming back.
Yep.
So they're both kind of like two sides of the same coin. So she sees them doing this to him and she stops and they talk some shit to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, you ain't about to do shit.
Right.
So they end up leaving like bullies do. And they go in the store and she hands Corey a knife and she's like, what do you want to do about it? So they end up slashing their tires. I thought that was pretty funny. Like it was cute.
It was.
And she takes him to the doctor's office where her granddaughter works. Now, she kind of orchestrates Allison and Corey like hooking up.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
in her eyes, he's this innocent kid that's been mishandled, right? Yeah. She knows what that feels like, and she wants Allison to get out and start enjoying herself, even though, Allison lost her boyfriend 3 years ago. She hasn't dated. So she kind of facilitates like, hey, you need to push up on him.
Right.
And Allison like tries, but he's like, he don't trust nobody.
Exactly.
So he kind of like blows her off a little bit. And she's like, well, just come to this Halloween party with me. We'll have a good time or whatever. And they go to the Halloween party. Now, this is where I was like, all right, we're done. Like, we've hit a whole new level of what the fuck, right? Because I was there until we got to the party. So we get to the party and everybody's in their costumes and they're dancing. And he like really can't dance. So he like falls on the floor and starts doing that seizure shit. And she's like all over his face, like doing, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I've been to some like emo gothy clubs, stuff like that. That's my shit.
Yeah.
And you do the like, even though I'm a black girl that can dance, when I go to an emo setting, I'm doing the like, it's a vibe.
Yeah.
You're drunk, you're just feeling the vibe. Mm-hmm. But the way it was shot and him having the like, oh god, like y'all are just making us look bad. Like
it's so cringy. I was like,
you're making us look terrible, okay?
Right.
And he kind of has like a moment on the dance floor, right? And he gets like upset and he leaves and she's trying to chase after him, but it doesn't work. And he gives her the whole like, we're different speech, this will never work. We're so different. And she's like, look, motherfucker, I was in this shit a few years ago myself. I'm going through it too. You're really not alone. You're just choosing to be alone. So he storms off. And what happens? He's walking across the bridge and the bullies show up. Yep. And they start fucking with him again. And they are whooping his ass. Now, if I'm Corey and I already got a body, not trying to be funny, but if we're just going off of facts here, I get that he doesn't want to beat these kids up because deep down inside, he's really a timid person.
Yeah.
But what do you have to lose at this point?
I mean, come on.
Because they were whooping his ass. And I'm talking about, these are high school kids.
Yeah.
We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're like 17, 18 maybe. Yeah. But they're like beating this, like he was 21 when it happened. So he's 24 now.
Right. Yeah.
Beating his grown adult ass.
Yeah.
And they beat him to the point where he falls over the bridge. So now they're freaking out. Well, the three of them are freaking out.
Yeah.
But the lead asshole is like, no, nothing. I didn't push him. I didn't push him. But you clearly pushed him.
Exactly.
And they like just they haul ass. He's rolling down the hill and he ends up near the sewer where this homeless guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Enter your a crazy homeless character.
Of course.
And he's like, there's
Who
a
lives
man
on
in
the
there.
edge of town.
And he's like, there's a man that lives in the sewers. And like he starts talking and he's like, I'm Michael Myers. And the shit's it's funny. It is. But Corey goes into the sewer like a dumbass. I think he's disoriented, but he goes in there and he sees somebody in there. And this is where we finally, after like 30 to 40, about 30 minutes,
Yeah.
I would say roughly, we see Michael Myers. And like he's old as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already old as shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now they're physically showing that he's old as shit. And
Right.
he grabs Corey like that scene you see in the trailer. And this is where I really was like, oh, we just don't give a shit. And it's like he transfers his energy to Corey.
Yeah. I was ready to get off the train at that point. But I was just like, I gotta see where they're going with this.
Now, this is where it personally offends me. Right? Because I'm all for supernatural. It's Michael Myers. I mean, there's no else to explain it, right? I mean, the way he was housing niggas in the past 2 movies, he's obviously of a supernatural form to be as old as he is and unstoppable.
Yeah.
What? And the idea that he gets his power from killing people, very Freddy Krueger. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I can do that. But when you, as the director, and this is where I have to call him out, say, oh, this isn't a supernatural Michael Myers. He's a human. And then you give me supernatural shit. Yeah. Now I'm confused.
Yeah, they definitely.
They made that a point to keep saying that this isn't supernatural.
Yeah, and it's like you're saying one thing, but previous movies have not let us hear. Like I didn't expect to lead here from what we've gotten from the previous movies in this franchise.
Like, we don't even have to go through the whole franchise. Your 2 movies before this don't make any sense now if you're saying that he's not supernatural. And even in this movie, he touches his face and then he sees all the shit that happened to him when he killed this kid, and he just gives him some energy.
Yep.
It's fucking weird. Like now, like Michael Myers is a goddamn telepath. I don't, whatever. So Corey makes it out. And when he makes it out the sewer, he's like a different person, right? Like,
oh yeah,
he's a lot darker, a lot broodier. You know what I mean? And they're making it seem as if like the evil is like an infection. And I feel like that was the theme of all the movies, but it just wasn't done well. So it's Halloween, right? And this other cop, does the cop come to the point yet? I don't remember. Oh, okay. Yeah. So he goes, it's not Halloween yet. Sorry. So he goes, he tries to see Allison. He tries to make up with her. Everything's good. They go on a date. She's enjoying it. And then like, that's the other thing. Like it's been like 2 days and they're already acting like a couple.
Of course. Right.
Right. But they go on a date and her ex-boyfriend's there, who's a police officer, and he's an asshole. And he starts fucking with Corey and talking about, you know, he's a murderer and Allison doesn't need to be doing this and all da. So he like harasses them, and then he follows Corey later on that night after he drops Allison off.
Yep.
And Corey also rides a motorcycle, so it's like very rebel without a cause. Anyway, so he like it's following Corey, and Corey like lures him down to the sewer.
Yep. Which is like, why would you follow him to the sewer? Like it just didn't make no sense. And usually I'm here for like characters making bad choices where they don't make any sense, but this one was like this movie was just so off the rail.
Yeah, so he leads him to the sewer, and Michael, in his weakened state, ends up killing this cop. And Corey's like, we're partners now. Like we're fucking partners. So Allison gets all pissy because she didn't get this promotion because the doctor is sleeping with her coworker. Right. And she's bitching to Corey about it. So Corey decides that he's going to go handle it. So he like gets his own little mask and he goes to the doctor's house. Now, I did like these kills in the movie, but
Mhm.
he goes and he kills the doctor, and Michael shows up, and Michael kills the nurse. So in Corey's mind, they are a team.
They're teammates, yeah. Because
They,
at first I was thinking like he was more so like an apprentice, but it was like no, they were working together. It was a teamwork. It was
see, and I
teamwork.
don't even think it's that. I think it was like he was like, "Oh, you brought me a body, so you can lead me to more people.
Yep,
So I'm
that
gonna
too.
follow. I'm gonna follow you."
That too. Yep.
Right. So, and he killed, like, Corey kills the doctor, but Michael kills the nurse in the same way he killed the guy in Halloween 1 where he pinned him in on the wall and he
Yeah.
does the head tilt. So I thought that was a nice little nod or whatever. So
Yeah.
Lori is starting to get like really like weirded out by Corey.
Yeah.
Right. And Allison's like, I'm leaving town with him. I want my own life. This
Yeah.
shit sucks.
Yeah.
I am head over heels for this man. He wants to get the fuck out of here. I want to get the fuck out of here. You never left, and that's your problem.
Hmm.
I'm fucking leaving. I don't have to be here. And I'm going to go with the person that understands me the most because she's still stupid.
Yep.
Didn't
After
learn,
like
didn't
after
learn
how many
shit.
days? After how many days?
Yeah, she didn't learn shit like at all.
At
Right.
all.
Because her last boyfriend was shit too. So, Lori is like, you ain't going nowhere,
Right.
and they're just having it out. And, she's starting to get real suspicious of this Corey dude. So Lori finds Corey. Now, this is when we get to Halloween. So Lori is going around like figuring out like what is this kid up to. She kind of starts like following him a little bit, and she finds him sleeping near the sewer.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Look, I will help you with whatever you're going through and getting over whatever the fuck Michael has done to you
Yeah.
if you leave my granddaughter alone." And he's just like, "Fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm taking her. She's mine, and you're not gonna keep me from her, right?"
Yep.
So Corey just Corey's like, "Fuck it, I'm the new Michael Myers now."
Hmm.
So he goes to no, correction, I'm sorry. She didn't follow him to the sewer. She followed him to the house where the little boy he killed died. He's sleeping on the floor in the blood spot.
Yeah.
Got ahead of myself.
Yeah.
But that was such a G scene though. Like, I will give Jamie Lee all the props for that scene
Yeah.
because she ate that fucking scenery.
Yeah.
Because he's sleeping on the blood stain in the wood. It's still there 3 years later. The house is abandoned clearly.
Yep.
And he's sleeping there. He wakes up and she's just chilling in a chair.
Hmm.
Chilling. And then she gives him the whole speech about like, I've seen this before.
Yep.
I can help you stay away from my granddaughter. And he pretty much lets her know, like, yo, I can take her if I want her. You can't do nothing about it. This is all your fault anyway, because you brought him back. And he's like, and I'm special. He chose me.
Mm. Yeah.
Right. You're just mad because he doesn't want you anymore. He chose me.
Yeah.
Right. And I like that scene because he's talking all that shit. And then he turns around and she's just like gone.
Right. Gone.
I do love that scene. Like with all these movies, they're so beautifully shot and
Yeah.
directed. The
Oh yeah.
stories are just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So, her and Lori and Allison are arguing more as she's trying to pack, and then Allison blames her too for everything that's going on. And it's funny because like throughout the movie with Lori's story, that didn't mean for that to rhyme, but with her story in this movie, she keeps encountering people that keep blaming her for what happened.
Yep.
And you see how it takes a toll on her. She's quit drinking,
Yep.
and she's writing the book kind of trying to channel those emotions.
Yeah.
But like she goes to the grocery store and the old black lady that got stabbed in the neck with the light bulb
Yeah.
in part 2 is now in a wheelchair and can't talk, and her sister runs up on her at the grocery store in the
Yep.
parking lot and like starts going off on her.
Yep.
You feel so bad for Lori because it's
Mhm.
not her fault, but you could see it from the point of view of people of Haddonfield, like, bitch, this wouldn't have happened if you weren't still here.
Yeah.
Even though nobody really knows the fact that it wasn't her fault, that this loony doctor set him loose and all
Right.
this shit, but she looks like the prime suspect.
Yeah. People need somebody to blame.
Absolutely.
Basically. And this is a small, seems like mostly conservative white town. Like let's just
Yep.
be real. It's a small town, and people always need someone to blame.
Yeah, and it's sad because like that's when Hawkins, the deputy that they were
Yeah.
jonesing in the hospital together, he comes up to her and he's just like, he talks to her about these damn cherry blossoms and like how
Mhm.
it helps him stay centered, and she's got to, find a way to get through it and all this stuff. Like he's steady, like is trying to be like, bitch, I love you.
Yeah. So
But he
in so
never
many
says it.
words, in so many words, in so
So
many
many
ways,
words.
like the love is in his eyes. Like he had the
Yeah.
love eyes.
Like
Like
the way they run into each other in the grocery store and he's like low key flirting with her, but she's like,
yes,
no.
yes.
Like
And they're old, so it's like, girl, he's been loving you,
forever.
been loving you.
And
Like
he's always trying to like encourage her to like let it go. It's not your fault. Stop carrying this guilt. You did what you could. Like, and I feel like that's the character that I feel the worst for in this movie. It's because all Hawkins wanted to do was love Lori,
that's it. That's it.
and she was just blocking her blessings, man.
Yep.
And on top of that, she could have been someone protected. I mean, he is a damn sheriff. Like, I'm just saying. Anyway, so now it's that night. They're about to leave, but before they do, Corey decides to go back to the sewer and he takes Michael's mask. He beats up Michael Myers.
I was so confused.
He put hands on the man,
I was so confused at this part. Like, what are you doing?
and he was just eating them punches like breakfast.
Yep. Like he always do. He just
Yeah. But it was sadder because you know how old he is. Like,
yeah. Like we've seen this man be like kind of weak. You know, he's weakened, and I mean, let's just be real. We've taken a liking to Michael Myers at this point.
dude.
You
I
know,
mean,
we've taken a liking because they beat his ass in the last one. He been hiding in the sewers. You know, he's trying to plan his master escape.
he ain't bothered nobody in 3 years.
He ain't bothered nobody in a while. So it's like, what the? This was so unprovoked. What did Michael Myers do to
It
you?
really was. He just ran up on this nigga, beat his ass, and like was like, "Bitch, give me your shoes." Like he just took his mask.
So unprovoked. Like what?
He took his mask, and y'all know he can't do shit without that mask.
Right?
So you're left being like, okay, so is he gonna kill Michael and just be Michael Myers now? Like it's so
Yeah.
quizzical, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like it just doesn't really make sense,
Yeah.
right? So then he decides to start killing people. So he finds the bullies and he lures them to his stepdad's like scrapyard or whatever. Now, I like these kills too.
I did too. I
Even
did.
though it wasn't Michael, it was very Michael-like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like he hits the one with like the truck or whatever against the fence and everything. Like he's just stomping on people's heads.
Oh yeah.
Like it was very graphic, but very Michael. But you have to remember, this isn't Michael. It's kind of like you get a glimpse to what young Michael was like, but not Michael.
Right. Right.
So he kills these bullies, and he even kills like he kills the black girl too. Even though she was like from moment one was trying to stop the whole situation, but he kills her too because he's like, you roll with him, you gotta die too.
Yep.
Right. And one of them like accidentally like kills his like stepfather too, which is kind of sad because the stepfather was the only person that had his back in the entire movie, and you get this small glimpse of his home life. I mean, it's so small.
Yeah.
But he has this really like, because of the circumstances that happen to him, his mom gets extremely overbearing and overprotective, almost in an incestuous way.
Yeah.
Like you get this inkling, and they don't like come out and say it, but you get this inkling by the way she's like caressing him and talking to him and not wanting him to like date, that she's got a little bit more than a mother attachment. Like it's kind of sickening.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
It's very subtle. Like if you watch it again, it's very, very subtle.
Yeah.
But she's giving off like I would rather be with my son vibes. Yeah. And the stepdad just drinks his beer in the chair. He's like, "Will you leave that woman, like leave that child alone?" Like, you can tell the only person that Corey really had a relationship with was his stepfather. It wasn't the greatest relationship, but that's the only person that it kind of seemed like didn't hate his guts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then you also get some insight into the parents of the child that got killed.
Yeah.
As Lori goes and that's what happened at the party. earlier, Corey runs into the boy's mom and she's hammered. And
Mm-hmm.
she goes off on him about how could he be out here partying on this day
Yep.
when he knows what he did,
Yep.
and her life will never be the same. And she kind of gets him to like run out the building. Like, I mean, she's belligerent. Like,
Oh, yeah.
she's like a Karen on 20. Like, and I get it, that pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't fault her for that because I don't know how I would cope if I lost a child in a tragic way. And the person that was supposed to be responsible for him is the reason why he passed away, accident or not.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to be around you either.
At all. Mm.
But throughout the movie, Lori talks to I always forget her name, but Kyle Richards. I always forget her name in the movie, but she's like reading tarot and shit. And she's talking to them about like, oh, I looked into his eyes and it's the same blackness and darkness that Michael had that night. And it's like, what are you talking about, bitch? You barely saw his face. You were too busy running for your life.
Exactly.
Like, you didn't have any interaction with him that tough for you to be like, oh, it's just like it was with Michael, because you really didn't interact with him like that, but whatever.
Right.
And she ends up talking to the dad of the little boy, and the dad of the little boy has forgiven him.
Yeah.
He's a drunk, but he's like, hey, you know, he was the sweetest kid I'd ever known in my entire life. And I don't believe that he would do that.
Yeah.
But I saw him walking down the street, and the person that I saw a few days ago isn't him.
Right.
I don't know who that kid's different, but the kid I remember would have never done this. So the dad has made peace with it.
Yeah.
So Lori's kind of like, yeah, something's wrong if he's noticing this too. Everybody's noticing this shit. So she's really trying to get him to stay away from Allison, but it's not working. And Allison and him just decide they're going to ride off into the night. He kills his mom, right? Because in typical fashion of a Halloween movie, you have to kill the mom.
Yeah.
And he kills this radio DJ that was harassing him, which I don't know or not if that was King Kieran.
I thought it was.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
I need to look because I was like, this nigga's looking real familiar to me right now.
I thought it was because, you know, of course, you know, they got a few, they sprinkle in a few black people in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that? I think that is him. I think that is him.
It is King Kieran.
Yeah.
So good for him. I'm glad that he was in that movie because I was like, this thing, it threw me off because of like how they shot it. But yeah, that's him. So he was harassing him and Allison earlier, talking shit about her crazy grandma and the shit that he did. So he doubles back to the radio station and kills him. You get this idea that he's tying up his loose ends on his end with the people that pissed him off, and then he's going to kill anybody that said anything rude to Allison. So that also means Lori has to go. Like you already know he's going to go after Lori because he wants to make sure when they leave, there is nothing
stopping them
to bring them back, right? So Lori's chilling at the house, and she already knows some shit about to go down. It's Halloween. She's like, I'm ready for whatever.
Yeah.
So she places a phone call to the police station and says there's like, you know, someone has unalived themselves, right? And they need to get to her place. And then you see Corey show up, and you see him creeping through the house. And if you watch the trailer, the internet is undefeated with this shit. And they had already figured out this was Corey's hand because Michael was missing those two fingers from the movie, right? So we already knew it was Corey. We just didn't know how it was going to play out. So you hear this gunshot. And he opens the door, and Lori's standing there with the gun. And she's like, you think I was really going to kill myself?
I did. I did. For a split second, I said, I know Lori is not about to go out like this.
No, I knew it. I knew only because this Lori is a master booby trapper. You gotta remember. Yeah. This isn't old Lori. This is new Lori. And new Lori knows how to set a trap. So I knew she was gonna trap him. So they start like fighting, right? And she's like kind of getting the best of this kid, like for real. Like and she you know, she shoots him, he falls down the stairs, and they're tussling, and Allison is walking up to the door. He sees her, and he stabs himself in the neck to make it look like Lori killed him for no reason, because Allison says you just want to hurt him, and he tells Allison, I think your grandma's trying to kill me, like a few scenes before, and she didn't believe it. But he stabs himself in the neck, and he's already shot. It makes it look like
Yeah.
She did something. And Allison shows up right on time and she freaks out,
Of course.
right? And she leaves. She leaves. Um, and as she's leaving, Michael just comes up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, bitch, remember
I'm here.
me?
I'm here. What's up?
Right? And you think he's gonna go after Lori. No, not yet. He goes to Corey, slits his throat, and takes his mask back. Now, little old dumbass me, I was like, oh yeah, we're passing the torch. Nah, Michael put that shit out. He said, ain't gonna be no other Michael Myers but me, bitch.
Right.
So he takes his mask back. Lori is like, all right, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
So he, stalks around and she gets the upper hand and they start fighting. Now, watching these two elderly people fight,
it was so great. It was so great to watch.
it was great, but then you start thinking
They're old as fuck.
like somebody gotta have osteoporosis.
Somebody
Like
got to have a broken hip,
something, because they were like,
shoulder out of socket. Somebody got frozen. Like somebody got arthritis. One of y'all got to have
yeah,
arthritis.
somebody gotta be hurting. Like, and it's October, it's been raining, your bones hurt. Like,
Yep.
but they was really like swinging on each other and throwing each other over the kitchen island and beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And like she gets the upper hand on him, right? And he is like fucking her up. Like she's pinning him down on this island and she stabs him. And this man still like lifts his hands up enough to like,
yes,
right.
So they both have power strength.
And she tells him to just do it.
Yep.
She says, just do it. Like this bitch is like, I've had enough. Will you just fucking kill me already?
Yes. She's been dealing with that her whole life.
All right, she's like, just do it.
Honestly, well, I'll get to my predictions after we get done with it, but I had a prediction that it was going to end a different way.
Yeah, I did too. So, she pins to the table and Allison shows up and helps. Mm-hmm. She starts stabbing his ass up too. And I think they cut his fingers or some shit like that. But they,
they was going at it.
They was going for it. And Lori ends up slitting his throat.
Yep.
So they're like, all right. So Allison finally realizes what happened with Corey. And, the cops are on their way because of the call Lori placed earlier.
Yeah.
Right. And Allison finds out, oh shit, Corey was trying to kill my grandma. So she doubles back and helps out. Mm-hmm. And the cops get there and Michael's body is there. And they're like, all right, well, we're just going to slit his wrist and let him bleed out.
Yeah.
Right. And they take his body and they're like, no, we want everybody to see this shit.
Yes. Yes. The whole town.
They get the whole town. And the deputies, the deputy and the sheriff are like, all right, we'll allow it.
We gonna get this shit done. Like it was it was like a sacred, like it was like a ritual.
They just wanted it to be done like so bad. They were like, yep, we'll allow it. Go ahead. We'll let
Nobody said anything. Everybody was silent.
Yeah, we'll let you murder this person and we just won't say nothing about it.
Yeah. Because we're gonna come around asking questions.
Right. Nobody. So they strap him to the car and they parade his ass around Haddonfield like a show pony. Like they caught the biggest deer.
Yep, this was crazy. This was crazy.
Everybody's just like out in the street. It's like a real parade. Like they just got the police escort and everything.
Another great scene of good cinematography.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Great camera work. Great camera work. It was just great. It was great. It was great.
Yeah. So they get to like the salvage yard where, Corey and the stepfather are. And they throw his ass in an industrial size shredder.
Yep. He ain't coming back from that.
And they confetti his ass and the whole town is just watching.
Yep. In silence.
What would you say? Like, I'd be eating something. You would hear the ruffle of a bag of chips.
Something, a Reese cup or something.
Like, I need a snack. Like, I need a snack for this.
Right.
And like that's it. Like that's it. There's no.
Didn't they show like everybody whose family member he had killed? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he affected everybody. So they was like, yeah, Yeah, he
So
got to go. He
you
killed my
just see
aunt. He
it.
killed my sister. He killed my babysitter. Like it was somebody.
Yeah, he just gets sucked into the shredder, and that's it. And then you get this anticlimactic epilogue. Like it's like Allison leaves. She's like, you
Yeah,
know what? Yeah, I've had enough. And good for her. She did
yeah.
what Lori
Finally,
should have did. She left,
finally,
right?
finally.
She left. And Lori is finishing her memoirs, and Hawkins shows up, and they start talking about the cherry blossoms, and you can kind of see that she's more open to being with him.
Yeah, finally.
And that's it. That's it. That's the end of the movie.
Yep.
That was it.
Now I do want to. I want to share my screen real quick. I think I can do this. Share screen. Okay, so I don't have two monitors. Hmm. Let's see. I might be able to do it. Okay, so I just want to share my screen with y'all real quick and show y'all that Halloween Ends has a rating currently of 1.9. I'm big on like reviews and everything and seeing what IDMB what they are saying. And yes, y'all, 1.9. There is like majority of these scores is everybody gave it 1 star. 1 star, 1 star. And that says all you need to know right there. You know,
Yeah.
it just wasn't a good movie. Like it just wasn't a good movie. And I'm just like, y'all had it, again, just like we said with the last movie, y'all had a great opportunity to have something good. Like
Yeah.
Halloween movies tend to write themselves. Like if you just have good kills, have a decent storyline. And this one wasn't even that nostalgic. So it's like y'all already killed off all the old people in the last one.
All the old people.
Y'all trying to have like a will they won't they moment, and it's like I wasn't here for the side. I like sometimes I'm here for the side romance, but then another time I'm like, listen, y'all are missing the big cues of like this person is going crazy. Like did y'all not remember what Michael Myers did to y'all? So it was but I gotta give him props on the cinematography. The
Yeah.
cinematography was like all the behind the scenes stuff, like the cinematography was really good. I felt like the people who worked besides the band the band bullies, I felt like, you know, they put the attention to detail was definitely there. It just was the story. I don't know if the writers just didn't do enough like drafts of it, you know, where it's like, okay, we're gonna do a draft and see how this is and then do another draft. I feel like it was another situation where a lot of different people had their hand in the pot of like, let's do this, let's try this.
Yeah, it was too much.
It was a lot, and unfortunately, you know, that's where Halloween ends. My prediction, I'm gonna say this right now. I went into this movie with very, very, very low expectations because I did not like Halloween Kills. I did not like it. And this one, the only thing I really did like about it is I felt with the townspeople felt, and I was vindicated of like, yeah, they're finally about to kill him. Because I was like, okay, Michael Myers, he has to die. Like that has to happen. They didn't drag this out for 3 movies. He has to die. I honestly
Yeah.
thought Laurie Strode was gonna go with him. I thought Laurie was gonna go with him. I'm like, they both. I'm like, what a twist would that be if they both end up dying? You know what I'm saying? So
Right. And
I was
we're gonna get to that.
yeah, that's what I was like. I think they both gonna die, and I wouldn't be mad about it. I would not have been mad or sad or heartbroken about it because I'm like, damn, this is how it's gonna end. But I did feel vindicated with the ending. Um, Michael Myers definitely is dead. He ain't coming back. Um, and that's it. that's just that is it with how I feel about the whole Halloween trilogy.
Okay, so they wanted to officially end the series, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we got the wrap up that we did now, because I'm just rereading the articles I have saved just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Okay.
So there were extra endings that
Okay.
didn't test well, which is why we got the ending that we got. So we did get, there was an ending where Lori and Michael both died because Lori felt that Michael would live on if she lived on,
Okay.
right? And then we get an ending where Corey is resurrected by
Mm-hmm.
Michael's evil
Okay.
when he like it you know, it helps wake him up the way it always wakes Michael up.
Right.
But they literally got the ending that we got because people just want the shit wrapped up and they promised to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you think about the ending of Lori dying too, I think it would have made more sense for Lori to die.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, like I don't think she should have got a happy ending just because
Yeah.
not I feel like in movies, the idea of a happy ending is subjective, right? Like it's all
Very.
perspective.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets a happy ending.
Yep. And I feel like that's the point. That's the greatest point of horror movies is that there is no happy ending. Like I'm kind of in the middle about it because I don't like movies that have this so superficial happy ending and everybody lives, everybody nobody dies, everybody lives.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not so gung ho about those endings, but I'm also not so gung ho about the villain lives. He kills everybody. He's gonna continue to kill. I'm not a fan so much of those endings as well. I'm stuck in the middle of like I want a realistic ending. Don't give
Yeah.
me some butterflies and we gonna fall in love and live happily ever after. When previous movies, my mama done died, my daddy done died, and
Yeah,
like
I feel like her PTSD should have been like magnified at this point. Like
mhm.
the
Yep.
fact that like we got that ending scene and it's beautiful of all the empty rooms, right?
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
all filled with light and they're all peaceful.
Hmm.
And then you see Michael's mask on the table. I don't know. It just feels like it's not over. Like, because why would you hold on to the mask? Or is that supposed to be a symbol that she's finally accepted it?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. I was.
Because I
Yeah.
wouldn't have kept that fucking mask.
At all. At all. I would have moved away. I don't know why.
Me and Allison would have been gone, and me and Hawkins would have had a long distance booty call. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like I wanted Lori to die too.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt
That's
like
why
that ends the trilogy.
yeah. When she
And I
said
feel like she would have been okay with that. Like she would.
she
She
said
kind of
do
went
it.
into. You know what I'm saying? Like she went into it of like she knew she was probably gonna die, and that's the beauty of horror movies where it's like everybody don't get to live.
Yeah,
Everybody
when
shouldn't
she said do it,
do it.
he should have killed her, and Allison should have been the one to kill him.
Yep.
And then she could have moved out of town. I mean, like I said, I just don't feel like there was much to salvage after like the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It had a good start. Like I said, I'm all for different, but it just didn't make sense.
Yeah. 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 Trying to make sense of Michael Myers transferring his power to Corey and Corey living in the sewer.
Yeah.
It just didn't it just I mean, I said from the jump that this movie was absolutely just going to be a money grab. It was a money grab, you know, they kept saying it's gonna end, it's gonna end, it's gonna end, it's gonna end. So they magnified it times 20 and it's like okay, like
Yeah.
we get it. Like, okay.
It hurt my feelings that Jamie Lee Curtis was like, this is gonna fuck you up. And it's like, no, it didn't.
It really didn't, boo.
It really didn't, ma'am.
It really didn't, boo. Like, no, it just didn't. Especially when her daughter died. Lori's daughter died.
Yep.
Why do you get to live? And your daughter had to die. Like it's just like
You hate to see it. It just didn't, like I said, I just feel like and I said it before, we have these trilogies, and you can kind of tell by part 2 if they're going to stick the landing or not. So
Yep.
they totally, like, you can tell, like, you can tell the pandemic had a lot to do with what they did. They had too much time on their hands to rewrite this script.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Too many chefs in the kitchen, too much time on our hands. And I would like to know what we would have gotten had they not went this direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you watch part 2, and I've said it in the last video, she's leaving the hospital full of morphine as if she's going to kill him that night.
That night.
So why didn't we do a continuation of that night? It should have been
exactly.
what they said. They said that it was going to be over one night. And why they decided to change their minds, I will never understand.
Yeah.
I don't think they understand.
And that's what made me get on board with the second one, because it was a direct continuation of the same freaking night. So it was like, all right, so now it's been a few years. This fucked up town is still very fucked up. Like, it just,
And then to add insult to injury. Now, I'm not the smartest nigga on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think if you decided that you might introduce a brand new lead character,
mm-hmm.
and you have been in the town of Haddonfield for 2 movies now, that this person would be in the background somewhere or had interacted with someone, so we actually know who he is, or he was at the high school dance, anything that would tie him into the situation. But this motherfucker that we've never seen before,
they just plopped him right in our face like, hey girls, hey.
We saw like at least 80 people in the hospital alone. We couldn't have snuck him in there nowhere to have a conversation with Allison at the school dance, or like nothing. He couldn't have been the brother of somebody. Like, there was no way to tie him into this. And it's just like, it's kind of insulting.
It was forced. It was definitely forced.
Like, the cleanup crew did not do a good job with this. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely struggled. And that's a thing with writing. You would think with these big Hollywood, big production movies that the writing would be solid, because they should be seasoned writers, but their writing is very like beginner-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is what bothers me. Like, okay, even if you wanted to change it up, I'm fine with that. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I like different. I like reimaginings. I like new takes on things. I'm not stuck on nostalgia.
Exactly.
At all. So, not trying to be funny, but if everyone was home during the pandemic and we're all doing this over Zoom, that means you had ample amount of time to do what you needed to do. But like, do they watch their own movies, or do they just say, okay, I remember? Like, do you actually go through your shit with a fine-tooth comb, old scripts, old everything, to make it make sense? Because there were ways that this could have made sense.
Yeah,
there's just ways it could have made sense.
Absolutely. Yeah,
like, you could have made her a classmate of his. Anything.
Something.
She could have known him previously. It could have been a little boy that she babysat. It could have been, he could have been the brother of one of those, her friend that got killed on the fence. There's so many ways to have tied him into the story that they didn't take advantage of. But then you give us him and these bullies and his mom and his stepdad and the parents.
That was a whole storyline we did not even need. That was a whole subplot that we did not even need.
You literally only got 4 reoccurring characters, which is Lori, Allison, Hawkins, right? And Michael. That's it. Everyone else was a new character that we had never seen before. But you spent so much time in the first 2 movies showing us all the old characters that we knew. So it just didn't go together.
It was just it was just
that's her name, Lindsay, Kyle Richards' character. And then like you bring in Lindsay, who didn't get killed in the last movie, into this movie for like 2 scenes. Like, I just like, in my Cardi B voice, like, what was the reason? Like, I just don't understand who was like, yeah, this makes sense.
Right.
And like the court of public opinion is not always right. We get it wrong. Like, we're just criticizing things that we enjoy, right? So we get it wrong. But if your audience is saying to you, this doesn't make sense off the second movie. The
Yeah.
second movie, people were saying this doesn't make sense. The
Mm-hmm.
second movie, people were poking through plot holes, and then you're like, all right, fuck it, we're just gonna make it bigger. It seems it's a little annoying
Yeah.
to
Definitely.
my dollars that you don't think enough of me, and you say these are for adults,
Yeah.
that you don't even care about the fact that I know how to put a story together.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. Like I said, I'm not going to pretend like I know how to make a movie or write a script or any of that. I know it's hard, it's difficult. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to come down on these people. I'm saying this is basic arc storytelling,
Yeah.
and we missed the mark with the end.
Yeah. And we have every right as consumers who consume and take in their work. We have every right to be like, nah, y'all got it wrong on this one.
Yeah,
And you know, it's I'm glad it's over. I
yeah,
will say that I am so glad that this trilogy is over. I'm just waiting for the next time they try to reincarnate Halloween and breath life into it
yeah.
because you
Because
know,
the rights went back to the original owner after these three movies.
okay,
So whatever, it's gonna come back. It's gonna spin the block in like another 3 to 4 years. It's
yep,
just
yep,
annoying, and it's more annoying because it was Blumhouse, and to know I remember when Blumhouse started off like so strong in the horror community.
that used to mean something.
Blumhouse used to be what A24 is now.
Girl, if it say Blumhouse
You was watching it.
and it's rated R, and it depending on who the director is and who got their hands in behind the scenes, I'm watching it just off the strength of Blumhouse. But Blumhouse
They've
is
been taking a little bit of a dive.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and
I don't
that's
know
why
if it's
when
more so like a money thing where it's like let's try this. It's a money grab, but beloved, y'all losing y'all
I'm
core.
calling it right now. Blumhouse is going to go the way that New Line Cinema went.
You right. I was thinking that. I was thinking that same thing of like, because New Line used to mean something too. Like
Yep,
you got excited when you see the New Line
yep,
logo and to hear that music is like
yep.
yes. Just like with Blumhouse, like oh yes, it's about to go.
Right. You see the little chair spin in the corner
Yep.
in the shadows, but like I just feel like maybe they're just not vetting the writers like they should, or they're just not going over it with a fine tooth comb, or they just got enough money now to where they're just like, okay, just make
Push,
anything,
just push it out. You know what I'm
just
saying?
make
Just
it.
push it
Yeah.
out
I,
because
I just
there's a
remember when they
lot of
were,
rivals. There's a
yeah,
lot of writers out there.
yeah, I just remember when they like really were like they were a emerging horror
Yeah,
distribution company, and I don't know what happened, but I hope they get back on track because A24 is eating that ass up.
they
Not
are.
only with just the horror, but just the indie horror. Like indie horror is making a comeback, and I feel like Blumhouse. Not that I hated Megan,
Yeah,
but maybe we need to get back to those indie movies that made you guys what you were, because it's
yep,
not panning out with these bigger projects, and
yep,
they're trying to get their hands on Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'll be damned.
yeah.
We already suffered with
Yeah.
Platinum Dunes, okay?
Yeah, because that's one thing of like it's it when you there. I feel like they're looking at just the numbers. Okay, how can we make a movie with the least amount of money and make the most amount of money?
Yeah,
And you can't skim back on that budget. I would rather them skim back on like hair, makeup, little shit like that. Pay these writers so you have a good
yeah,
quality writer and
yeah.
not somebody who is just like, ooh, I'm gonna get it done and push it out. Like the
But they do this
writers,
all the time with these franchises, right? Like they get so big and then they don't want to pay the appropriate writer. So they'll just pass it off to someone for rewrites, and they don't know what the hell the person before them was thinking. So they just
they'll
add to it, and they
they
add to
come in
it.
with a whole they come in
Yeah.
with a whole new storyline. They kind of pick apart, they take a little bit from the last one, but they come in the train goes so far off the rails. And sometimes, and like you said, I like different. Sometimes I like a little bit of a hot mess and off the rails a little bit, but I expect that from low budget. low,
But
low,
this is
low,
what
low, low
just
budget.
think about it. This Halloween Ends is exactly what happened to Scream 3.
Absolutely. I feel like they were like, oh, we gotta make this last one.
Yep. When they
Let's
said,
just put it
yeah,
out.
we gotta make it, screw Nev, we
We
gotta do
obligated
it.
to make it, you know, and it's like, bruh, y'all could have actually kept it.
Yeah. So
Y'all could have kept it though. Like y'all, another great movie could have been made. You
like
know,
I'm glad that we're done with this trilogy. I'm glad this trilogy is over.
yeah.
And I'm just looking forward to next week because I have the perfect movie picked out for us next week.
Okay.
So next week we are going to be, because 4th of July is Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
So we gotta review Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam.
See, I knew it was gonna be some shit you'd never seen before. And that's
Hmm.
why I picked it. So Uncle Sam, let me pull up the deets so I can get you excited. So Uncle Sam is this movie. It came out in the 90s, right? It's one of those holiday movies that like nobody knows about.
Okay.
But it's based about the 4th of July. And it came out in 96, right?
Oh, okay. I'm
It's
pulling it up now.
Tubi. A Gulf War veteran
Okay.
rises from the dead to wreak vengeance upon his unpatriotic residents of his hometown.
Hmm.
Now it's low budget.
Okay.
It has Isaac Hayes in it though.
Hey, low budget ain't never scared me. So I'm like, hey, I'm here for
We
it. And it's 96.
we watched it growing up because it had Isaac Hayes in it, and my dad was a big Isaac Hayes fan.
Yeah.
So the fact that Isaac Hayes was in it was enough for my dad.
Okay.
So when I tell you, you're gonna be like,
Ooh.
it is just a good cheesy holiday movie, something to
Okay.
wipe our palates clean of the seriousness of these bigger franchises. It's a
Yeah.
standalone movie. It's cheesy. You're gonna see
Right.
a lot of American flags in red, white, and blue, and a zombie war vet dressed like Uncle Sam, and it is just a laughable good time.
Ooh. Okay. I'm here for it.
And it's on Tubi, so it's right up your alley.
I mean, hey, it's Tubi is right there. I always try to push people to Tubi because, hey, it's there. They got a lot of
I've been watching like cartoons and old, like I've been watching a pup named Scooby Doo and
yeah.
Tom and Jerry.
Oh yeah. Pup named Scooby Doo had me in a headlock.
Yeah, I've been watching that like all week and like the Steve Harvey show and shit like that. So I never watch the movies. I never have enough time to just watch an hour something movie, but I can
Mhm.
always sneak in a TV show.
Oh
So
yeah.
I need to get on my Tubi movies. But yes, it's on Tubi. I'm excited because we're about to bring back a little holiday fun. But like I said, it's so cheesy.
Okay.
It's,
I'm here
it's
for it. Well, listen, I am gonna lie to you. I have somehow found myself in a chokehold of the Puppet Master movies.
I read that on
Woo,
your page. You guys gotta check
woo,
out Recaps with May too. She's doing an
woo,
awesome job over there on her standalone page.
woo.
And
Puppet
yeah, I
Master is
saw
so
that.
bad. It's so bad. Like all the movies are so bad. The first two, solid,
Yeah, absolutely.
solid, low budget. Third one is a prequel. They go back to the Nazi time of
Yes,
Hitler.
that's what's he have you got to retro Puppet Master yet?
Not yet. I have.
Oh, oh,
It's
wait till you get to wood. They're not even plastic, they're wood. Wait till you get to that shit.
girl. I also like I have a tendency to like Wikipedia a movie as I'm watching it. So I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
let me see what I'm in for. So I have so 4 and 5 was like they were like together. They tied in together, but they are so off the rails that it's like, how are we in hell talking to a demon now and he's trying to get his power back? Whatever. Then
Puppet Master and Hellraiser are like the best worst movies on the planet.
the best where I'm literally like, this is a hot mess. It's so off the rails, but I'm 6 movies in now. I can't stop.
At some point, we're gonna have to do like a deep dissertation on Full Moon Productions because Full Moon Productions had us in a chokehold in the 90s at the
Mm,
video store. Okay,
mm,
Ragdoll, the
mm,
horrible Dr. Bones,
mm,
all of them
mm.
shits. Like if you saw Full Moon Productions, you know you were in, it's like trauma for horror movies.
Yes.
Like they just made whatever.
And it was always straight to VHS, straight to DVD.
And I love the previews always had me because like
The previews
I
was on point.
I'm telling you right now, I feel like Ragdoll is one of the most underrated hood, low
It
budget
is.
horror movies on the
It really is. Like I feel like if more people saw that movie, and they had like a little bit of a bigger budget, it still would have been terrible.
I
But
love that movie. I don't care if I can see the shadows. I don't care if I can see people puppeting the doll.
you can see the
I
string.
Yes, and not trying to be funny, but the most stereotypical gay person in movie history ever. Like, we were so problematic in the Black community with gay people. We still are, but that one was like top notch stereotypical.
Top notch hot mess. Okay.
And then the horrible Dr. Bones with that horrible music group.
Oh my gosh.
Love it. Love it. We're gonna get there. I said Full Moon Productions is like just got this tiny place in my heart. Like, I remember going to Hollywood Video, and if you saw that little emblem, we were like, oh, we gotta get it.
That meant something too.
Yeah.
Full Productions, that meant something too. They have a whole what is you doing? Close the door. Sit down.
I'm sorry, y'all. I know my godson over there tearing shit up.
Like, I
No
can't.
matter what we do, like, Black mamas are always gonna be Black mamas. Like, it's just a thing. Like,
Oh, what are you doing? Like, why are y'all not in your rooms away from me right now?
I bribe my children, so
they take it for advantage of like, oh, she busy, she not paying me no attention. Let me go ahead and
no, you gotta bribe them with food and video games. I mean, Xavier's about to be 16 in like a week and a half, so he's not leaving his room at all.
Oh yeah.
So I only have one to worry about, and he's pretty chill anyway. And the baby is sleeping through the night. Thank you, Jesus, for your prayers.
Ooh, and he in his own bed. Is he in his own bed too?
Yeah, he's in a toddler bed now. We're out of the crib. We're in the toddler bed. We're sleeping. I wake him up in the morning. He gets out his own bed and waddles over like he's doing it now.
A sweet baby. Oh.
No, now we're entering the fresh hell of potty training soon. So pray for me again.
Whew. I know how that is.
But no, that's what we're doing next week, guys. Doing Uncle Sam. We're gonna wrap it up. We don't want to keep you guys too long. We're trying to keep these to an hour so we don't keep y'all here forever.
Yep.
Unless you're watching us on YouTube, and then you can watch whatever you want. You can just put it on the background. I'm telling y'all,
we got some bingeable content.
Yeah, put it on in the background. Cook, work out, yell at your kids, fall asleep to it. We don't care. We just appreciate that you clicked on the video.
Yep, I'm telling you, you will have a good time. That Candyman one.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, we've got some top. Swarm is always going to be my favorite.
Woo. Don't remind me about Swarm. That was like 2 hours.
Yeah,
we was going in for.
When we really like it because we can't stop. So
yes, Swarm. That was a good one. Candyman. That was a good one.
We've got Scream. We've got Scream 2 through 6 on a playlist, and then we've got the Halloween trilogy on a playlist. We could not carry over our initial Scream. Yeah. So we actually might have to run that back because there was no way for me to port that over.
Yeah, me neither. This was back in the day when we was trying to figure
that was like our first one.
We was trying to figure this whole podcast life.
Yeah, that was our first one ever. So
now we have direction. Now we have goals. We have a routine in mind. So now we know where we're headed.
Yeah, we might have to actually run that back to add it to the playlist because it just starts at 2 through 6. But I don't know if I ever learned. I'm getting more technically savvy. So when I learn how to get this downloaded and then I can chop it up for TikTok, we'll have a TikTok page too. Yeah, I will be running. So we've got a lot of stuff coming. I mean, we're here, you're here, and we just really appreciate you guys on our Facebook page. I'm still gagging.
Yeah,
I don't think you understand. I've never.
It was just like 109, and I was like, oh, it's like 115.
The last time I remember really checking it, like checking the followers specifically, we were at like 70 something.
See, I remember we was at like 50, so 70. And then when you said it was at 100, I was like, oh man. So it's steadily going a little bit every day, which is, I know, we struggle with consistency. That's the thing of just playing the game with these algorithms and being more consistent and just always, if we always putting something out for y'all, the algorithm will just push it on out. So
yes. And you never know, when we get to a certain number, we might pop up with a cute little giveaway, y'all.
I know, right? I'm waiting. I'm trying to give you. I'm trying to give y'all
Something horror related.
Yep.
Maybe a poster, a T-shirt, something,
Yep.
you know, because we appreciate y'all. But
Absolutely.
that is where I'm going to end it for the night. We'll see you next Monday, 8:30 with Uncle Sam, and then we're going to immediately upload to YouTube. YouTube takes me about 20 minutes.
Okay.
So usually by like midnight, we're dropping on YouTube, you guys. So we really appreciate you guys so much. And we will see you next week for some good cheesiness.
All right. Love y'all.
And we love you. Bye.
All right.